Good evening and welcome, and thank you for joining us today for the State of the College Growth and Innovation virtual event. In a moment, Dr. Holiday Goodman will do a brief welcome before introducing our other speakers. My name is Susan Wilson. I'm the Director of Development for the College of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences. I'm joined here by Billy Pierce, Associate Vice President of Alumni Engagement. As guests are joining us, I just want to share a few housekeeping notes about our virtual event. Attendee names will not be visible to other attendees. They are only visible to the hosts and presenters. Therefore, you will only see your name in the attendee list. For today's presentation, we will request that you submit your questions for Interim Dean Holiday Goodman or any of the other panelists by using the chat box, which will be monitored throughout the session. Now I would like to turn it over to Dr. Holiday Goodman for opening remarks.
I'm sorry, everyone. I lost my mute button there for a second. I hope you guys are doing well tonight. And I am just so pleased to have you join us tonight for this event. I know the last 20 months or so have just been unusually challenging. But I know that even though we are facing many challenges here within the colleges at the University of Toledo and just across the nation, we have several wonderful things to be happy about, to be thankful for within our College of Pharmacy. So tonight we are going to share with you just some aspects of how we are currently navigating the changing landscape within our college. This 1-hour program, you're going to have the opportunity to hear from about 5 speakers who represent various perspectives of the College of Pharmacy experience. Dr. Gabriella Bacchi will share insights on activities within the BSPS program. Dr. Martin Ollinger will share highlights from the PharmD program, and Dr. Zuhur Shah will provide comments on the graduate program. You will also hear from Faith Wetzel, who is president of our Pharmacy Student Council, and she will provide insight into the students' perspective within our college. You will hear from my dear friend and mentee from many years ago, Dr. Alicia Sellers, who is an alumni of our college, and she will provide insight into how her experience at Toledo helped to shape her career success. Lastly, I will wrap up tonight's panelist presentations with a few additional highlights about opportunities for growth and innovation within the college. I hope that you enjoy tonight's program, and at this time we will get started. I now introduce Dr. Gabriella Bacchi, Associate Professor and Director of the BSPS Cosmetic Science and Formulation Design Program, to share her comments. Dr. Bacchi.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Dr. Holiday Goodman. Good evening, everyone. We are very glad that you're able to join us this evening in this virtual environment. Nowadays, it is not easy not to talk about the pandemic, so I'll just go ahead and look at how we have been doing during the pandemic and what opportunities this unexpected world health crisis has offered us. When it comes to COVID-19, first, I must say that I am very proud of our students that they were able to push through the 2020-2021 academic year, which was taught remotely. Students had to balance school, work, and life in a socially distanced environment. I applaud the students for being able to manage all of this. We are now back to face-to-face teaching and can see our students every day in every class. This was much needed progress, which was made possible by a team of healthcare workers, including pharmaceutical scientists, which brings me to the next point. The COVID-19 pandemic has demonstrated it to us that there is a great need for pharmaceutical scientists to fight the virus and its variants. As you know, the University of Toledo College of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences offers 5 BSPS majors, which makes us unique in the nation. Pharmaceutical scientists have been playing an important role in fighting against COVID-19, from developing the technology for vaccines, testing the safety and efficacy in clinical trials, creating preventive personal care products such as hand sanitizers, and studying the economic outcomes of the COVID treatments, and so on. I want to say that there are many other healthcare issues that our community members are facing, and our graduates are much needed to innovate therapies and products and make them accessible for everyone. Talking about demand, I wanted to note that our graduates have been quite successful at finding jobs in many different positions, from biotech to pharmaceutical, cosmetic and personal care companies, hospitals, and the government. Our priority is to continue to deliver high-quality education with our dedicated faculty, and to continue to make sure that our students are successful, they are job-ready, and also life-ready. Our toxicology major continues to be a popular choice of students and has proven as a strong degree for pre-medical students. I am proud to be a part of a college with so many successful BSBS programs, but my main focus, of course, is on the Cosmetic Science and Formulation Design program, for which I serve as the program director. The Cosmetic Science program is the only undergraduate degree program in this field in the United States. As you can imagine, we have significantly grown since the start of the program, but we do foresee more growth opportunities in the future. Increasing enrollment is a high priority for us in all of our programs. We understand that we need to increase our outreach efforts and let high schools and career technology schools in the nation know about our pharmaceutical sciences programs. As an example of outreach efforts, we came up with an innovative initiative earlier this year. In the summer of 2021, we launched a 2-day interactive virtual cosmetic science camp for high school students. We had over 20 companies, such as the Estee Lauder companies and Bath & Body Works, partner with us, either as presenters and or donors. We had close to 100 students participate from all over the nation. The camp was a great success, and it has already been bringing new students to the college. We had about 10 students from the camp visit us in person, and we had at least 10 applications to the college from the campers. We have already started organizing the 2022 camp, and we welcome and appreciate any help from our alumni and supporters, whether it is your time to reach out to your high school or connect us with families who you think might be interested, or your opinion and input about the camp, or even financial support for our participants. I wanted to just briefly touch base on research. I'm very proud to say that our faculty members run top-notch research labs with state-of-the-art equipment and are well recognized in their respective fields. We continue to expand our research portfolio and do involve undergraduate students as well as graduate students in our research activities. Dr. Shah will share more information about this in just a few minutes. Finally, I must say thank you to our committed and very supportive alumni in the BSBS programs, who have been helping our programs grow in different ways and become well known in the nation. I just attended a national cosmetic science meeting in New York a few weeks ago, and it was fantastic to see that the cosmetic science program at Toledo is well recognized in the nation. And this is due to our excellent students and alumni and their support. We thank you and look forward to your continued support. And now I would like to introduce Dr. Zahor Shah, Associate Dean for Graduate Education and Research, Program Director for the Department of Medicinal and Biological Chemistry, and Professor. Dr. Shah.
Hello and welcome everyone. Thanks Dr. Gabby for the introduction. As an Associate Dean, my job is to oversee graduate programs and the research in the college. In our college, we offer multiple graduate programs. Students can choose a PhD from medicinal and biological chemistry, pharmacology, and experimental therapeutics. Students interested in masters can choose from medicinal and biological chemistry, pharmacology and toxicology, health outcomes and socioeconomic sciences, industrial pharmacy, where students can opt for majors in pharmaceutics and cosmetic sciences. In addition, we also offer dual degree opportunities for PharmD students. PharmD students can choose PhD, PharmD degrees in medicinal and biological chemistry, pharmacology, and experimental therapeutics, or they can choose PharmD MS in health outcomes and socioeconomic sciences. Starting this year, we also introduced new master's program in pharmacoengineering. This is a collaborative degree program combining pharmaceutics and engineering from UT College of Engineering. Even during the pandemic, our graduate enrollment has remained steady. We have a stable graduate education operating budget of around roughly 1.5 million per year. We have around 72 current and new graduate students enrolled in our graduate programs right now. Among them, we have a Fulbright fellow, Maxim Ahanso, from Benin, West Africa. Maxim is enrolled in Master's in Science and Pharmaceutics degree program. This year, a total of 19 PhD and master students graduated from our programs. Our faculty members published around 36 peer-reviewed publications with graduate students as first or co-authors. Our graduate students have won several travel awards to present at national and international conferences. One of our graduates, Hannah Sertanos, who graduated this year, received a competitive pre-doctoral fellowship from American Heart Association to support her PhD research. After graduating from UT, Hannah Sertanos accepted a postdoctoral fellowship at the University of Colorado. Similarly, Ragad Bukala, a PhD student, received pre-doctoral fellowship from American Foundation for Pharmaceutical Education. Recently, Dania Almargalani, a PhD student, received 2021 Trainee Professional Development Award from the Society for Neuroscience and the UT Graduate Research Award of $2,000 for her work on hemorrhagic stroke. Noor Hussain, who graduated this year, was offered and accepted a postdoctoral fellowship at Stanford University, which highlights the quality of our graduate students and the research they perform in our college. We also have great examples of some of our graduates who are interested in working in pharmaceutical to biotech companies. One of the best examples is Kevin Nash, who graduated in 2017. He is working as a senior preclinical scientist at Homicide Company based in Durham, North Carolina. We have seen significant achievements in the overall functioning of graduate education and research. Some of the highlights are: we have achieved a milestone of an all-time high of 2.7 million extramural funding compared to 2.4 million in 2020 and 1.8 million in 2019. Our faculty have received grants from National Institute of Health, Department of Defense, National Science Foundation, and American Heart Association to continue performing cutting-edge drug discovery research on neurodegenerative diseases, difficult-to-treat drug-resistant cancers, drug abuse, autism, and cardiovascular diseases. Our Center for Drug Design and Development and newly established Shimozu Laboratory for Analytical and Pharmaceutical Sciences are at the forefront of discovering and developing new small drug molecules for Alzheimer's disease and other disease conditions. It is worth mentioning that Center for Drug Design and Development is working collaboratively on these projects, which have faculty involvement from across the college's activity. Our faculty have received accolades in several fields of education and research. One of our faculty members, Professor Yusuf Sari, was awarded a highly competitive Fulbright Fellowship for performing research on drug abuse at King Saud University, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Just yesterday, our senior faculty member, Dr. Salama, received a Notice of Award for his collaborative National Institute of Health grant award of $1.8 million. Dr. Salama has been associated with the college for the last 30 years. I now introduce Martin Ollinger, clinical professor and department chair of pharmacy practice.
Right, wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Shaw, for the introduction, and a very hearty good evening and welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening and allowing me to share some brief remarks with you as well. I would start with students. We always think of students first, and I do have just a few comments about students, really just celebrating their successes here that we've had in and out of the classroom. We've had a lot to that we're very proud of. But you're actually going to hear from one of our students next, and more on this from Dean Holliday Goodman. So I'm actually going to defer, and you'll hear more about, again, some of the successes of our students just a little bit later in the program. However, speaking of students and enrollment, Dr. Bucky mentioned enrollment, and enrollment has been a significant challenge for all colleges of pharmacy nationwide, really, over the last few years. Seeing that change in the landscape that we anticipated, we actually a few years ago revamped our entire admissions process to try to make ourselves more competitive. We expanded our applicant pool through utilization of PharmCast, which is the centralized application service. Basically, it's like a common app for colleges of pharmacy. This allowed us actually to expand both in the number of applicants, but also to develop a more diverse applicant pool. And, we were able to do this all in the face of, again, declining number of applicants, a real challenge, and more colleges of pharmacy opening. However, having said that, we've actually, our last 2 PharmD classes have been the largest we've ever had. So we've been very successful in that sense. Now, of course, this does come with challenges, and we know that we have a need to, have a comprehensive recruitment plan, one that's very strategic, and a process and the resources that go along with that to ensure that we continue to attract the best students possible to all of our programs. So we've got the students here. We need to make sure we have the faculty and staff and everyone here to deliver the curriculum. And so I do have a couple of actually exciting faculty updates. This year, just this fall, we were able to hire Dr. Joan Arabor as a visiting assistant professor in pharmaceutics. Just this week, we got final word, the okay, that we are going to be hiring Dr. Lula Maktabi, and she's actually one of our alums, and she'll be joining us as a visiting clinical assistant professor. So we're very excited to have her on board very, very soon. She'll be starting with us just in a couple weeks. We do have some faculty searches that are well underway within pharmaceutical and policy sciences. We're going to be hiring faculty in the cosmetic sciences, pharmaceutics, and health outcomes and social sciences areas. In addition, we will be looking for a pharmaceutics teaching fellow. So very excited about all of those. And finally, for pharmacy practice in the clinical and practice arena, we are currently hiring for 3 clinical faculty in internal medicine and related subspecialty areas. Now, having said that, that's a lot, and we're very excited. We're able to be recruiting for those positions, but we still have a need. Basically, that's just going to get us back to kind of on par to the level of faculty needs that we had a few years ago. Our current faculty are doing really an amazing job, but there's frankly just stretched thin. And looking at how we deliver our curriculum in the classroom, in the labs, and in experiential settings, we just need more consistency with more faculty filling the positions and some of those key areas that we have a need for. Again, in the didactic setting, in the lab, the clinical practice. So all of those are going to be really important for us. Speaking of clinical practice, the next point is we do currently have some unique partnerships between our department and the University of Toledo Medical Center and some of its clinics, and additionally the Toledo Clinic. And these are fairly innovative practices that we have set up just over the last couple of years. And we've expanded the clinical pharmacy services that we provide now to patients through those partnerships in oncology and internal medicine. And so again, very exciting, but we're really looking to grow that and to partner with other healthcare systems in the Northwest Ohio area. So it's going to be important that we continue to grow in those means for better patient care, for more experiential training sites for our students in their introductory and advanced pharmacy practice experiences, for collaborative research. We could go on and on, but those are going to be really key areas for us in growth over the next few years with our faculty. And lastly, interprofessional education. and simulation. We started in with an interprofessional or IPE program, interprofessional education program, several years back, but it really just focused on the P1 year and really just focused on the fall semester. We've expanded that significantly into the spring semester of the P1 year, and additionally into the P2 and P3 years. And of course, the P4 years, they get that, the students get that when they're out on rotations. But an enormous amount of effort has gone into just really completely redesigning our IPE curriculum and working with other healthcare professional programs across the university. Alongside this, we are currently undergoing a major overhaul of the Simulation Center. If any of you have been there, you would notice, and you will notice soon, that the first floor in particular is going to be undergoing some significant, I guess you could say, capital improvements. So we have a real need for some of those resources, not only capital, but also people, faculty and staff, so that we can really utilize that space in a way that it was intended and built for our pharmacy students. So those are just a few areas that I wanted to highlight for pharmacy practice. And in closing, thank you again for joining us this evening. And thank you to all of our College of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences family out there. So it's now my pleasure to introduce one of our outstanding students, Faith Wetzel-Sears. And Faith is a one of our PharmD candidates in the class of 2023. And she is currently serving as the president of our Pharmacy Student Council. Faith?
Thank you, Dr. Ollinger. Hello, everyone. My name is Faith, and as Dr. Ollinger just said, I'm a student in the College of Pharmacy. I graduated in May of this year with my Bachelor of Science, and I'm a current P3 in the PharmD program. Now, during my time as a pharmacy student, I have served on a lot of student panels. And probably the most common question that I get asked is, why here? Why Toledo? And I think a lot of us, myself included, tend to jump right away to saying cheap tuition. This is the most affordable place in the state to get a Doctor of Pharmacy degree. And while I definitely agree that affordability is something that sets this place apart from the rest, that is not why I chose to pursue my education here. The thing that drew me to the pharmacy program here at UT was the strong sense of community that I felt among students and faculty during my initial visit here. Being an indecisive 18-year-old, I visited a lot of colleges, and out of all the schools that I visited, the only one that truly felt like home was the University of Toledo. I was so warmly welcomed by students and faculty, and right away I knew this is where I belonged. I love this school, I love this college, and I love this city. I think my decision to enroll in the pharmacy program here was absolutely the best decision I could have made. I have the best instructors and the best advisors I ever could have asked for. I met my best friends here, and I met my husband here, and I have made so many connections over the years that have led me to some amazing opportunities. With the onset of COVID-19 in March of 2020, one of the things that I was worried about was that this sense of community and inclusiveness among the student body would be lost. Fortunately, our students here at the college are incredibly innovative, from virtual game nights to daily uplifting quote text messages. So many of my peers went above and beyond to boost morale and maintain a sense of normalcy during these very uncertain times. As a student leader, this really did inspire me. And when I was elected to serve on student council this year, I decided that what I wanted to do was I wanted to do the best I could to cultivate this feeling of warmth and inclusiveness that made me fall in love with the College of Pharmacy here. And fortunately, Student Council has some wonderful class representatives who have worked very hard to help me achieve this goal. Our student representatives this year have taken on the task of hosting class bonding activities within the college as we begin to return to campus. With this, I really hope that we can continue to serve our peers and set a strong example of a diverse yet inclusive program for the classes to come. In spite of all the challenges that we have faced this past year and a half, the College of Pharmacy has continued to thrive, and that is thanks in no small part to our incredible faculty here and the amazing student body that we have. I love this school, and I really do look forward to my remaining semesters here at the university. So with that being said, it is now my pleasure to introduce Alicia Vassar. She is the Director for Aetna Better Health of Maryland Medicaid. She received her Bachelor of Science in Pharmacy in 1998 with Departmental Honors in Pharmacy Practice and her PharmD in 2001. Alicia?
Thank you for that introduction, Faith. Good evening, and thank you for the honor of being a guest panelist tonight. The times I spent at the University of Toledo in the College of Pharmacy were some of the best in my life. I was very involved in both pharmacy and non-pharmacy organizations. I was founding secretary and twice past president of the UT chapter of Student National Pharmaceutical Association, also known as SNAPA. I was a pharmacy student ambassador. I don't know if you still have those now. ROCI inductee and a teaching assistant to undergraduate pharmacy students. Also, I was a member of the Black Student Union and UT Gospel Choir. Believe it or not, I did actually have time to study. I not only cultivated lifelong friendships, but also obtained the support of the College of Pharmacy staff, which prepared me for what I consider a rewarding career. It was such a fun time. The teachers were friendly, they were helpful, they cared, and they were as excited about teaching drug therapy as I was to learn about it. My mother, Mrs. Arbor Vassar, who was my everything, passed away 10 days prior to my graduation from undergrad. The College of Pharmacy family was there for me, and I could never repay them for their support and kindness. The experience I had at the University of Toledo College of Pharmacy prepared me for my current role and my past roles. Pre-pharmacy, I was awarded an undergraduate summer internship in pharmacognosy, pharmacology, and immunology, where I had the privilege to rotate through the labs of Dr. Marcia McInerney, Dr. Steve Pasekis, and Dr. Ken Bachman. During my 5th year, I completed an undergrad honors research project with Dr. Karen Martin. Those experiences introduced me to an area of pharmacy well beyond what you typically associate with being a pharmacist, and it was awesome. In Dr. Bachman's lab, I think I killed about 90 rats that summer. Throughout the undergrad and graduate years, I was offered countless opportunities, both academically and socially. After UT, I completed a PGY1 residency at a level 1 trauma center in Columbus, Ohio. The focus was on trauma ICU, and ICU. I was fearless and ready to take on the world. My first job after residency was to develop a clinical pharmacy program in a small private community hospital in Springfield, Ohio. Clinical pharmacy was a concept that most of the hospital staff were unfamiliar with. The program was a challenge to implement, but a very rewarding one. I was able to use the knowledge and skills learned at the University of Toledo, which were sharpened during my residency, to create a program that was eventually well received by all. Over the years, I've worked as an attending pharmacist in a level 1 trauma center in Phoenix, Arizona, where I currently reside. There, I rounded with 5 different internal medicine groups and 1 med-surg group. I've done medical writing for big pharma accounts at a major PBM and served as a medical reviewer for an online health magazine. For the last 12 years, however, I've been a corporate pharmacy director for Aetna Medicaid. My position has allowed me to manage the pharmacy benefit in Illinois, Arizona, and Maryland. I've also been the lead implementation pharmacy director for new Medicaid plans implemented over the last year. In 2020, Aetna Better Health of Illinois, and in 2022, Aetna Better Health of Ohio rise. I didn't think as a UT grad that I would ever have a job that was not clinical, 100% clinical, ever. However, as a pharmacy director, I'm responsible for various facets of pharmacy management, including formulary management and PBM oversight, compliance and quality assurance measures, clinical program development, clinical rounds. Believe it or not, there are clinical rounds in managed care, and regulatory compliance, both state and federal. All of these experiences have given me the confidence to know that I can be successful. I will forever be grateful and proud to be a Rocket. Thank you again for allowing me to speak this evening. Our next speaker is my dear, dear friend and mentor, Dean Dr. Monica Holliday Goodman. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alicia. I am so proud of you. You know, when you've been in academia as long as I have, sometimes you look back and think about those things or people or, activities that you've done that made you a success or that showed that you were in the right place. So looking back at you and your accomplishment, I know that I have been in the right place. So congratulations to you for all that you've done in your career. I'm so very, very proud of you. So tonight I am going to share just a few more things with you all in regard to some of the achievements that we've made within these last few months. Some of these things have already been shared with you, but I will do my best to not bore you with these things and to provide you some insight into what we are doing here within the College of Pharmacy at the University of Toledo. So Kristen, I'm sorry, I am not able to get my slides to come up again. I took them down and apparently they have disappeared. Are you able to share them for me? I'm sorry?
They're up on the screen now.
Oh, okay.
They can see them right there.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So
Okay.
I'll have to read from there. Okay. I'll have to get them shared. Okay. All right. So everyone, I guess you can see my slides, but for whatever reason, I'm not seeing them on my monitor. But what I wanted to start with tonight was basically the college mission, because everything that we do in the College of Pharmacy has to stem from the mission. So the mission of the College of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences is to educate students to become pharmacists, healthcare professionals, and pharmaceutical scientists while advancing pharmaceutical knowledge. Our guiding principles, which are very important, are personal integrity, respect for humanity and human diversity, and professionalism. So that being said, taking into consideration the year of transition that we have had quite a year here within the college. Of course, we know that due to the pandemic, we all had to participate in remote learning. Our students did their absolute best to perform well under the pressure of having to look at their classmates and their professors by camera, not really getting a chance to know one another. But thank goodness they have survived that challenge and were able to come back this year to in-person classes. We, of course, had Dean Pollock's resignation. I can assure you that it was not due to anything negative here within the College of Pharmacy. This was purely for his own personal family reasons. And in addition to Dean Pollock leaving our college, we had many people who you all have had wonderful relationships with within our college who have retired. I'm sure you all remember Deb Sopsack, Mary Jo Borden, Jose Trevino, Janine Losick, and of course, Drs. Vince and Laurie Morrow. All of these people retiring and the dean resigning all within a few months really had us feeling as though, what is going on? Not only are we having to deal with the pandemic, but we're also having to deal with so much change within the college. Nevertheless, we are surviving. And not only that, I believe we are thriving. And when you think about the fact that in spite of all the change that we've gone through, we are still on track for progress in the 2021-22 academic year. So our dean's search is currently underway at the university. The request for applications went out, I know, at least a month or more ago. I believe they're accepting applications still through this week, I believe, through the first week or so of December. From what I understand, they will be conducting interviews in the spring semester, and hopefully we'll have a dean, a permanent dean named before the end of the spring semester. So we will hopefully have a permanent dean in place before the end of the next semester. I mentioned before that our students had to pivot to remote learning because of the pandemic, but thankfully they have successfully returned to in-person classes, and we're doing everything that we can to make sure that they are on track, that they are engaged, that they are interacting with one another, of course, in a safe manner, but just letting them know how much we appreciate them as students. As a matter of fact, I went to main campus yesterday to visit with some of our pre-professional year one students, just so that they could see me in person instead of on a camera, just to let them know how much we appreciated their presence within the college. So our faculty have been doing wonderful things to keep our students engaged, and we are just so appreciative of everything that they do on behalf of our student body. A couple years ago, I believe 2 years ago, 2019, we went through an accreditation, a scheduled accreditation. Luckily, or thankfully, I should say, we were actually awarded an 8-year accreditation status, but we did have a few items, a few standards that we had to report back on in 2 years. So wouldn't you know that this would be the time to report back on those. However, we were able to get that interim report submitted as scheduled in October. We should hear back from our accrediting body by sometime in February on those. I think we did a good job putting together the responses to those standards. Our faculty, and especially our new Associate Dean for Accreditation Compliance, just did an outstanding job gathering information and putting it in a format that was easily understandable, and hopefully showed that we definitely have made progress on those standards that we were asked to report on. So I'm looking forward to good news from our accrediting body on those. We've already talked about the fact that we have welcomed several new people here within the college already. We have staff members, 4 new staff members that have replaced many of the people who retired and left the college. And we are expecting more in regard to faculty searches. And as Dr. Ollinger already said, that we already do have 3 new pharmacy practice faculty members on board. So we are making progress. Yes, we lost some ground with people leaving, and we had to go through the growing pains of transition, but we are truly making progress within the college. Some additional evidence of our success, as Dr. Zahur Shah talked to you about, we have had an increase in grant funding, and he gave you many, many details on that, but we're so pleased with the just the excellence of our researchers within the college. I'm just amazed at the level of activity that they have in grants and publications, just truly outstanding young researchers that we have here within our college. We recently received our 2021 board passage rates, and I'm very, very pleased to say that once again, the Toledo averages exceeded the national average. We were 90% pass rate for NAPLEX compared to 85% for the national average. And we had 88% pass rate on the MPJE compared to 82% nationally. So just so proud of those first-time board takers in the 2021 year. 2021 also brought good news in regard to our residency match rates. We had a 78% match rate, which was in excess of the national average of 67% and also the state average of 74%. So we're so proud of those students. And thanks to the generosity of donors, we were able to award over $130,000 in scholarships to 95 students this academic year. So we're so pleased to be able to assist our students with the huge financial burden that they make just to be able to attend pharmacy school. One of the things that Dr. Ollinger alluded to was that our PharmD class, thankfully for the last 2 years, has been full and actually has been a bit higher than we've seen in recent years. And one of the things that is remarkable or very noteworthy, I should say, about this year's class is that our efforts in diversity and inclusion appear to be paying off, and that this class is 16% underrepresented minority compared to previous years when I would imagine it was probably no more than 10%. So we are making strides in trying to implement a workforce, a healthcare workforce that is representative of the society in which we live. Some faculty accolades have already been mentioned, and I won't go into detail. Dr. Yusuf Sari, I believe Dr. Shaw mentioned, that is currently a Fulbright scholar on sabbatical in Saudi Arabia. We're very excited for Dr. Sari's experience in this way. We've had some faculty that have been acknowledged by their own students for being innovative and student-centered instructors. Just recently, the provost sent a letter acknowledging Dr. Gabriella Baki, Dr. Bill Messer, and Dr. Marian Churchwell for their excellence in the classroom. So we're just so proud that we've had 3 of our own College of Pharmacy faculty that have been acknowledged by their students for their excellence in teaching. I would like to also say that Dr. Marian Churchwell was recently recognized for her outstanding contribution to the American College of Clinical Pharmacy for many things that she has done within that organization. We're just so proud of Dr. Churchwell. In addition to all that she does in the classroom and with this professional organization, she also chairs our curriculum committee. So as you can imagine, Dr. Churchwell is quite a busy person. We have had some faculty that have recently been allowed to participate, or invited to participate, I should say, in the UT Leadership Institute. This is an opportunity for the university to prepare future leaders. We know that younger faculty members oftentimes, especially once they get tenure and promotion, or once they've been here a while and have been allowed to experience a number of things in regard to teaching and research, sometimes look for leadership opportunities. So this Leadership Institute helps to prepare them to know a bit more about what it takes to be a leader in a major academic setting. So we're so happy for Drs. Patton and Megan Kahn. And Dr. Zahur Shah already mentioned the $1.8 million award that Dr. Jim Slammer received. We are so very proud of our students. They do amazing things, not only in regard to the board passage rates that I mentioned before, but also in regard to competitions within the country. We had several students that participated in the ACCP clinical research initiatives, both the Research Challenge and also the Clinical Pharmacy Challenge. Our students that participated in the Clinical Research Challenge placed 3rd in the nation. This is quite an accomplishment. And as you can see on the slide, those students are Alana Notke, Jenna Lynn, and Holden Pills. We also had a group of students that participated in the Clinical Pharmacy Challenge, which has more or less some basic clinical pharmacy skill evaluations in addition to responding to a clinical case. These students were Ryan Strasbaugh, Michelle Wilfong, and Catherine Matusek, and they placed in the top 8 out of more than 100 pharmacy programs that participated in this event. So we are just so proud of our students. We also had 2 students, well, one current BSPS student and one BSPS alum, that received the Rumelia Alina Diversity and Inclusion Scholarship through the New York Society of Cosmetic Chemists. These students recently attended this conference with Dr. Baki, and we're just so proud of their accomplishments for making sure that there is diverse representation within the cosmetic chemist society. So we are just so proud of them and looking forward to great things from them as they move on in their cosmetic science careers. And a P2 PharmD student, Elizabeth Foos, was one of 5 students in the nation who was awarded the U.S. Air Force Health Professions Scholarship. This is truly exceptional. And Elizabeth, of course, will go on to be an officer in the Air Force once she graduates from our program. So although we've had a number of wonderful things go on in the college, I would be remiss if I did not mention that, of course, we are facing some challenges, but I believe that these challenges can be faced and dealt with appropriately if we work together. It's been mentioned, I believe, by Dr. Martin and maybe even some degree by Dr. Zuhur Shah, that we've had some enrollment declines primarily in our pre-pharmacy population that encouraged us to move toward a more centralized application process like PharmCAS. We've had some enrollment decline in our BSPS program in the professional division and a slight decline in our graduate program. So clearly we are definitely going to have to do what we need to do to get those numbers back to where they need to be. We also are facing increased competition among area PharmD programs. We are noticing more and more pandemic-related mental health and financial challenges for our students. Even though we're back in person, we know that it's difficult out there, just living through the times that we're living in. So we're beginning to see these issues displayed in our students. And of course, Dr. Ollinger already mentioned the thin number of faculty and staff that we currently have, but hopefully with some of the hires that we have in place, we can help to alleviate some of that stress on our faculty and staff. So some of the opportunities for growth and innovation that hopefully will help in these situations that we're facing, the university is currently implementing a new incentive-based budget model. And this particular model incentivizes revenue generation of various kinds. Well, of course, probably the easiest way to generate revenue would be to increase enrollment. But as we know, we're living in a very difficult environment in which to do that. So we may have other opportunities, other entrepreneurial opportunities to increase revenue. And this is definitely an opportunity for us to work together to achieve this goal. We are collaborating with many other colleges at the university in various capacities. With the College of Business, of course, we have the PharmD MBA program that we have had in place for a while. We also will be working to implement a cannabis management certificate program in collaboration with the College of Business. We've mentioned the pharmacoengineering opportunities that we have with the College of Engineering. I am currently working on a STEM outreach effort with the College of Education, providing STEM education information to an inner city school in Toledo. I may as well say the Ella P. Stewart Academy, which is the only school in our area that is named after a pharmacist. So I am so pleased to be involved in that activity with our College of Education. And of course, several initiatives that we have in conjunction with the other health professions colleges here within the university. I'm also excited to announce that we have a mentoring program with the alumni affiliate that will be starting up soon. We have many alums who are interested in working with our students to give them perspective on various career opportunities. Similar to what you've heard from Dr. Vassar this evening, there are so many different pathways within the pharmacy, career and pharmaceutical science career choices that sometimes students don't consider things simply because they have not heard about them. So working collaboratively with our mentoring program with the alumni affiliate, we're hoping to inform our students of opportunities they may not have considered previously to give them a better sense of availability of positions within their profession of pharmacy and pharmaceutical sciences. We also will be working on enhanced focus on student and faculty well-being within the college. We actually will be repurposing a position in our student affairs office to focus on student well-being. And the university actually has a number of new initiatives on professional development and growth for our faculty and staff that we will, of course, be encouraging our faculty and staff to make use of. So in conclusion, we are facing many challenges ahead, but from my perspective, challenges are merely opportunities in disguise. And I feel that with our collective wisdom, with our creativity and effort, that we will succeed. I truly believe that we are family, and that includes our faculty, our students, our staff, and most importantly, our alum. So working together, all of us, I'm sure that we can get through these barriers that we're facing right now and come out on the successful side of excellence. Thank you. So at this time, I would like to bring back to the table, I should say, Susan Wilson, and we will have an opportunity to go into a question and answer period.
Dr. Holiday Goodman, thank you and the other panelists for your comments this evening. We do have a couple questions that have come in either prior to the session or while you were talking. And you may have touched on some of these, but I'm going to ask them. So you may just reiterate because someone may not have heard your response. But the first question is, what is the rating of the College of Pharmacy compared to the others in the state of Ohio?
Okay, the rating in regard to first, second, third, that type of rating?
Yes, rankings.
Oh,
How do we compare to other schools in Ohio who have pharmacy programs from a ranking standpoint?
That would be difficult to say because we typically don't look at the rankings in that manner within the state. We are working in an environment of what I call friendly competition. So we try to work together as well as we can without making a note of who's first, who's second, who's third, because that could really get to be quite a battle, if we engaged in that type of interaction. So when I do talk about how we are faring in regard to test results and things like that, I prefer to look at us in regard to the national averages and not look at us in regard to the state, because, to be honest, I don't want to start a competitive battle on that. There's so many pharmacy schools surrounding us, not only in Ohio, but, close to us in Michigan, even Indiana, and even Erie, Pennsylvania area, that I feel that it's probably in our best interest to showcase on what we are good at, showcase where we are above the national average, and not focus as much on how we rank within the state.
You touched on the search for the new dean process, and the question that came in is, can you speak to the makeup of who is on that committee?
I probably should have bought a list of the search committee, but I know there are several faculty members on that committee, student representation on that committee. I can probably get a list out to everyone. I am not on the committee. I believe Dr. Anthony Patton is on the committee. I believe Faith is a member of the committee. The committee is led by the Dean of the College of Health and Human Services, Dr. Merrick. And as far as the other members, I'm blanking right now, but I believe Dr. Baki is a member, Dr. Amit Tiwari is a member. I believe Dr. Megan Khan is a member, as these names come back. But that information is public information, and I believe it has been sent out to the alumni group in regard to, provide comments and send us ideas for candidates and things like that. But I believe that list was also distributed, and I will make sure that I resend that to you, Billy, and then you can send that out again if need be.
I'm just going to mention there is broad representation across, as you mentioned, faculty, staff, administration, students, alumni, and community members.
Right, but there are community members as well.
Thank you. The next question is, how do you feel the changes to the admission requirements for the College of Pharmacy over the past few years have affected performance of students in the classroom? And how do you feel this affects the overall success of the College of Pharmacy?
Okay, I'll start off with that and then I'll ask Dr. Ollinger to chime in a little bit on that. So when you think about student success in the classroom, I think we have to look at a bit more than just, you know, the admission requirements or academic requirements and things of that nature. The admission requirements were changed so that we could remain competitive within, you know, the vast environment of pharmacy programs. The way that our program was initially bringing in all of our students from pre-pharmacy, we didn't have the numbers available in our pre-pharmacy program to fill a PharmD class. You know, one good thing about that is that many students coming in from pre-pharmacy actually were choosing to go into the BSPS program, which is great. And then some students were choosing to go into the PharmD, but we didn't have well over 100 students going into the PharmD like we would have needed to have. So, of course, we had to change things a bit, had to change some of the requirements for admission, had to change some of the prerequisites for admission, so on and so forth, so that we would be able to match the type of students that would be coming in from outside of the university. Now, in regard to student success, I think that it actually is based on more than just a student's academic ability. From my time as Associate Dean of Student Affairs, I have seen a number of things affect student success, from personal issues, mental health challenges, financial challenges, family circumstances. There's so many things that can impact a student's success that it would be difficult to say that any one particular factor being changed was the reason that we might see a few more students not be successful. Especially in today's times, you know, during the pandemic, there are just so many things that are affecting student success that I don't feel comfortable saying that any of the changes that we see in student performance would be due to students not being academically prepared, you know, compared to the way that, you know, they may have been before. I do agree that in years past, our average GPA for students coming into the PharmD class may have been upward of 3.5, 3.6, and now it's probably closer to 3.4 or 3.3. But looking at that, we have to realize that that GPA is not computed quite the same. In PharmCast, the GPA they use takes into consideration every science class that you've had. Whereas when we did GPAs coming from the University of Toledo population, we decided which courses were going to be computed. So the PharmCast GPA is a more realistic GPA. So of course it would look lower, but in actuality, since it does not take into consideration grade deletions and the best of the first two attempts and all of that stuff that we used to do, it may look lower, but it probably is pretty much on par with the level of GPAs from previous years. So hopefully, you know, I'm getting across that academic success or success in the PharmD program is really connected to a number of different variables, not necessarily just academics, but other types of lifestyle issues and concerns that can impact a student's success in the program. Dr. Ollinger, do you have any additional comments there?
Sure, just briefly, I want to mention just two things. It's a wonderful question, a very important question. You know, when we think about diversity, I think oftentimes we immediately jump to, oh, diversity, students of color. But when I say more diversity in terms of our student population now, since we made some of our changes, is that we just have much more diverse learners coming from backgrounds that are so different. We used to have the students that were coming straight through, 2 years pre-pharmacy. They all kind of looked the same, they all thought the same. And now we have students that are, this is more like a, mid-career change, students that are parents, students that are taking care of parents, students from different socioeconomic backgrounds. And that just brings a whole new flavor, if you will, to the type of diversity and the type of learner that we're talking about. And we have to, make sure that as faculty and as a college, we're stepping up and making sure that we're doing everything we can to ensure the success of those students in the classroom and beyond the classroom. Some of that is yet to be seen, quite honestly. It's not just a GPA, like Dr. Holliday Goodman said. Board passage rates, placement rates, match rate for residency programs. And we began making some of these changes, 4+ years ago, and those numbers are holding up. Now we have to make sure that we continue along that trajectory. But I'm confident we're going to be able to do that with these new learners in this new world that we're facing of pharmacy education.
Thank you both. Kind of along the lines, you spoke earlier about enrollment being a challenge, and we just talked about admissions requirements. And that could also pose a challenge in one form or another. Could you speak to what some of the things the college is doing to grow enrollment and attract new students to the college?
So, of course, yes, we definitely are trying to be more visible, trying to let the world know more of what we have to offer. Like Faith said before, when she thought about why come to the College of Pharmacy at the University of Toledo, we have to make it more than about, we may be the least expensive option. There are a lot of great things going on within our college that make us competitive in many, many other ways. The fact that we are on a health science campus, the fact that we have the opportunity for students to engage in so many different types of professional organizations, the fact that we have a number of relationships with hospitals, clinics, and things all around the state, and even some opportunities for study abroad when it comes to experiential opportunities. So we have a number of wonderful things that we really do need to market more closely. One of the things that I'm looking forward to is working more collaboratively with our university admissions office. I know that the university has been undergoing some changes there. So I'm looking forward to working with them to come up with a plan of action as to what we can do. We're currently working with our marketing team to do campaigns, sending out postcards, sending out emails, sending out information regarding why should you come to the University of Toledo to various audiences. We have even put ads in certain journals and magazines and things of that nature, more so than we used to do. But our goal is to just try to be more visible, to let people know that we are here. It's almost like we're a hidden gem in some regards. So we're really going to make efforts to try to get the word out about our programs, not only the PharmD program, but our BSPS programs as well, and to make sure that people realize that pharmacy and pharmaceutical sciences are good career opportunities, and that the University of Toledo is an excellent place to engage in that learning.
We have a follow-up question going back to the admission requirements, and the question reads, this previous year had a GPA range of 2.11 to 4.0. Do you feel this could undermine the success of other students who have worked hard to maintain strict standards to hold positions in the PharmD class?
Well, I don't think so. I think one of the things that makes it difficult to compare based on GPA is that 2.11, as I said before, looking at the PharmCAS GPA, considers everything that a student has taken. So it really does not tell us what courses that student may have done poorly in. PharmCAS doesn't consider grade deletions. It doesn't consider you took a class once and you took it again, and now you get a better grade. It's everything. So those lower GPAs could be from a student that started in the wrong major and decided they wanted to change majors to something else. Those grades could have been due to just a number of things that have nothing to do with the student's ability to do well in the coursework here. So it's almost like comparing apples and oranges, from what we used to see compared to now. So it's very difficult to say based on GPA alone. So our admissions committee looks very carefully at the student's transcript to see, if the student, in their opinion, has a reasonable expectation of success here. We do not want to bring in anyone who we feel will not be successful in this program. That would not be fair to that student, nor would it be fair to our faculty who have to work with those students. So even though a GPA looks low, it would be very difficult for somebody to, just by looking at that number, understand what created that GPA. There can be a number of things that create a GPA. We know how it is, especially in a freshman year. A student comes in, first year in college, away from home, homesick, completely bombs out. In the PharmCast system, that would be included, even though that had really not much to do with that student's ability to do well academically, had more to do with their ability to manage the college environment as a young person. So we can see where a student took a class and maybe didn't do so well, took it again and do better. You can see that in the transcript, but the GPA that they report includes everything. So no, I don't believe that it undermines the success of other students. One of the things that we try to get students to understand, that especially once they are admitted into the professional division, there's really no need to compete with other students for GPA related things. I think that sometimes we get into the mindset of if I have a better score, then that means I'm a better student. And that may be true in some instances, but not always. So I think the true learning of the information is more important than the actual GPA that you receive, because there are some really, really good pharmacists out there that have graduated with 2.8, 3.0, compared to some pharmacists who are also good with much higher GPAs, in my opinion.
Thank you. Alicia, this question is for you. It sounds like you had a great experience at the University of Toledo and have gone on to an amazing career out in what appears to be warm and sunny Arizona, looking at the background.
Yes.
What compels you to stay connected and give back of your time, talent, and treasure to the University of Toledo?
Well, I just really felt very embraced by the College of Pharmacy family. I was, when I first started the University of Toledo, I was very shy. And I was given opportunities for internships, to join organizations. The professors took me under their wing. I was introduced to so many different areas of pharmacy that it was just so interesting that I wanted to make sure that others are able to experience that as well. I had an awesome experience, and I definitely want to give back because there were so many people who poured into me.
Speaking of the student experience, this final question I have in front of me is for Faith. How can we as alums, faculty, staff, and friends of the college best support students?
It's a really good question. I think that one of the best things the Alumni Association can do is physically showing up for the students. One of the things I remember from my P1 year that really stuck out to me was the Alumni Association came and set up a table that had a bunch of snacks and things like that, and they just wanted to talk to us. They wanted to talk to us about their, our experience, and I got a lot of insight on different areas of pharmacy that I really hadn't thought about. And I think having a established physical presence there is something that students really appreciate.
Thank you. Thank you again to all of our panelists. That concludes the questions that I've gotten. So I'm going to turn it over to my colleague across the table, Susan Wilson.
Turned my mute button on too quickly because, yeah, and Billy didn't turn his off fast enough. So we're echoing across the table here. So I apologize. Monica, do you want to do you have any comments before we close out? You're muted. You're muted.
I would just like to thank our panelists.
Monica, you're muted.
Okay. I don't have mute on mine. Can you hear me now?
We can
Okay,
hear you,
Monica's still muted. Is she there?
Susan, we can hear her.
We can hear her.
Oh, I can't hear her. Do you have her up?
Okay, as I was saying, I would just like to thank our panelists and the audience for attending tonight's program. And as we've already discussed, indeed, we are facing challenging times, but I think working together, using our collective creative wisdom, I believe these challenges can be a springboard for success. So thank you guys so much for coming. And if you have any other questions that we didn't answer tonight, feel free to make sure that those are in the chat, and we will do our best to get some answers back to you on that. So now, Ms. Wilson, I'll ask you to close out tonight's program.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Sure will. Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you for everybody who attended. We're so glad that you've been able to stay in touch with the College of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences. As Monica said, we're super happy to answer any questions that you might have that you didn't think of tonight. Please feel free to reach out to me or to anybody on this panel, and we'll be able to answer any questions for you. There will be a post-event survey. We would love for you to fill that out. If you have any questions, please let us know. And then, you know, we just thank you for doing everything that you're doing to keep everybody safe. And we look forward to continue to be in touch with you in the future. Thank you very much, and we will see you soon.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good night, everyone.